So another great place to stop off Alt 90 between San Antonio and Houston is the town of Shiner, home to the oldest independent brewery in the state of Texas, established in 1909. And Shiner Bock is definitely one of the more popular beers out there, and this is where they make it. And the grounds of this brewery are quite lovely. They really maintain this building very well. The paint looks nice and fresh and vivid white. Unfortunately, the brewery is closed today, but we'll still walk around here and check out the building. So we're just off Alt 90 here in Shiner on 7th Street. And so Shiner was primarily a German and Czech community established in the late 1800s. And it reminds me a lot of Schulenburg, which I visited in one of my previous videos, because the main street here of town faces the railroad tracks. Must have been cool to have lived back in those days when a train would pull up loaded with passengers and everybody gets off to visit your town and you're there to greet them. Those would have been great times to live in. So here in Shiner is the absolutely stunning St. Cyril and Methodius Catholic Church. Kind of has that classic German Czech brick pattern like you see in the towns of Schulenburg, Shiner, and others. And from what I hear, the inside of this church is just as stunning. So let's take a look. Painting here in the front is just incredible. So now I'm in the town of Hallettsville, Texas. Gorgeous little town off Alt 90, just to the east of Shiner. And the story of how Hallettsville was founded is one of the more interesting ones that I've heard. The person that founded this town, they should really make a movie or a TV series about this woman. She must be one of the most courageous, brave women in Texas history. Her name was Margaret Hallett, and she was the wife of a veteran of the War of 1812. He had bought a big tract of land in Lavaca County, and he died somewhere around the time that the Alamo fell. By somewhere around the end of the Texas Revolution, all three of Margaret Hallett's sons had died. And so here's this woman. The Texas Revolution had created a lot of chaos across Texas at that time. And so she took her daughter and they moved to the tract of land that her husband had purchased years earlier. Now, one thing to keep in mind, this part of Texas was still highly vulnerable to attacks and raids from Comanches in those days. To move off, just her and her daughter, to a frontier part of Texas, start up a trading post, made friends with the local Native Americans, and start a life, That's pretty extraordinary when you think about it. And so not long after establishing her trading post, she donated a large tract of land for a town, which became Hallettsville. So around the square you do have, you know, a place or two to eat, a little ice cream shop, got some nice little stores. So like many of the towns in this part of Texas, you see a lot of late 1800s construction here on these buildings. So this is one of the homes in Hallettsville. It's on the National Register of Historic Places, known as the Lebowska house, built in the 1870s. And I've seen paintings of this, and it was once much more beautiful than what you see today. It'd be great to have someone restore it back to its former glory. So the town of Eagle Lake is the last stop on this journey, and when you pass through town, I highly recommend taking a little detour and going up Stockbridge Street. The thing I love most about Alt 90 between San Antonio and Houston is it's very low stress, not much traffic, lovely little towns, peaceful rolling hills, countryside. Just a relaxing drive all along the way. So last we have a couple of beauties right here on the corner of State Street and Lake Avenue. So if you decide to take the scenic route here along Alt 90 and you want to stop and maybe have a picnic lunch along the way, just west of Eagle Lake is one of the most beautiful roadside rest areas you'll ever see anywhere. All across this picnic area are huge live oak trees, lots of shade. It's really quite beautiful down here.